Hey parents, it's Teacher Annette from Preschool 2. Today I'm going to be talking about and demonstrating the Health and Physical Development Domain Learning Activity for today, Thursday, week 4. So this activity has to do with cutting and scissor skills. For younger preschoolers especially, I would highly recommend that if you don't already have safety scissors, child safety scissors, that you go and buy some from like the dollar store or Walmart, or get a cheap pair off of Amazon or something, because the larger pairs, not only are they not quite safe for small hands yet, but they're also more difficult for those small hands to manage. I don't have any child safety scissors at home with me, so I will be using the big person scissors, but if you are unable to get a pair of child safety scissors, then please find the smallest pair that you have. Make sure it's not dull. Try and sharpen it before using it, because dull edges are really what cause more cuts than sharp edges, believe it or not. Same thing with kitchen knives, but we're not doing kitchen knives, definitely. And do not take your eyes off of your child while they are using non-safety scissors. Preferably you wouldn't use any non-safety scissors, but I understand that it's not always accessible to have those things at home. So the activity for today for young preschool is to provide many supervised opportunities for the child to safely practice scissor skills with art and other materials such as Play-Doh, straws, yarn, and etc. Practicing cutting on a line helps develop hand-eye coordination. So yeah, even with the safety scissors, you also want to be in direct supervision at all times. For older preschoolers, give the child opportunities to complete 10-piece puzzles. Many children enjoy creating their own puzzles of various sizes using magazine pages, cereal boxes, or photos. So let's start with the young preschool part of the activity. So again, smaller hands, smaller scissors, safety if possible. But at this age, they might not quite be able to handle the scissors fluidly. You might have to help them reassess their grip. I've seen children hold scissors like this. I've seen them hold scissors, with like their whole hand in the top and their thumb on the bottom. And if your child is left-handed, then it becomes an even bigger problem, because most scissors are not made for left-handed people. So you might have to offer some guidance on how to, put their fingers and thumb into the scissors the right way, how to hold them correctly, making sure that they know that you never point a blade at anyone. You always close them when you're done, and if you're handing them to someone, you do it like this and not like this. And that's important not only for the younger preschoolers, but for the older preschoolers as well, especially ones who haven't quite had as much experience or might have, some fine motor difficulties or delays. So the cutting on the lines might be a little too hard to start with, which is why they recommend some other materials, the straws, the yarn, the Play-Doh. I really like the idea of the Play-Doh, because with Play-Doh you can actually get plastic play scissors, the kinds that don't have any blade on them, and you can use those to help your child practice cutting through Play-Doh. This is a really, really good idea to start your child off with, to start developing those scissor skills, to start developing that grip, there you might get some Play-Doh stuck in the scissors, or in someone's hair or something, but it comes out fairly easily. And it's soft, so they're not going to accidentally give themselves a paper cut or anything. And again, you don't even need that sharp blade. You don't even need a blade like you might with the straws and the yarn. And in my personal experience, unless you have brand new safety scissors, they don't tend to cut through anything thicker than printer paper. So they're really good for, really thin material, but not so much, the yarn and the straws or pipe cleaners or anything. So for those objects, you might need to get a brand new pair or offer some assistance. But the Play-Doh idea is really good, and once they're a little comfortable with the Play-Doh, they can start cutting into paper and the cardboard. Cardboard is good. Tissue paper is a lot easier than both of those to cut through, but it's also a lot easier to rip, so that might cause some frustration. But once your child is pretty comfortable with the scissors, what you can start doing is drawing straight lines on paper and having them just cut on the line. This develops, as the little blurb says, this develops a hand-eye coordination, but also, that it just gives them a lot more practice with the scissor skills, with their fine motor, so their fingers, and actually your hand-eye is technically a fine motor skill as well. So they can be all the way up the paper, they can be, just to a certain point on the paper. You might want to do shorter lines to begin with, so that they don't, start to have difficulty and then, they want to give up. And then if you want to move on to like full page lines later, that's fine. If you're like me and you can't draw super straight lines, there's a ton of printouts online that you can find. You could use a ruler to draw the lines. What really matters is not that it's, straight. It's not that they're even across. It's that there's something there that's thick enough for your child to cut on. So a pen, drawing with a regular pen, might be too thin. I used a marker for this one. You could use a crayon. If you have So I used a marker for this one, a brush marker, but you can use a regular marker, you can use a crayon, you can use a Sharpie, anything with a bigger, thicker tip. And then, you don't even have to stop at the straight lines. Like if you notice your child is getting kind of bored with the straight lines, they don't really need any help cutting them anymore. They can do a full page. They can do all the way up through the top of the paper. Or if you have an older preschooler that you would like to do more line practice with, you can do so many different patterns for them to cut on. So what we usually do is we go from the straight lines to the zigzag and the squiggly lines. But you can also do like a curved line, you can do smaller zigzags, a big zigzag. When they start to master these ones, we put in, like these up and down ones to kind of help focus on those tiny edges. So, and again, just like the straight lines, there are so many varieties of these available online for free to print out and to cut, and they look a lot nicer than mine. And then for the older preschoolers, the activity is to give opportunities to put together a 10-piece puzzle. If you don't have 10-piece puzzles at home, it's fine. You can really easily make one, or your child can even, you know, make it themselves. So there's like so many things you can make these puzzles out of. You can have them cut up photos, you can get magazine pages, you can get cereal boxes, you know, any kind of cardboard box, kind of like this. You know, you can just, before they start cutting, you can help them rip off or cut off the side tabs like that, and then just make a puzzle out of the main piece. You can go online and print out photos. You can go online and find pictures of, you know, from their favorite book or their favorite show or movie. What I actually did for this demonstration was I went on Unsplash, which is a free use photo website with like really high quality photos that I use in my classroom. And I printed out this picture. It doesn't have to be full size like mine with, you know, no margins. It can be a smaller size, you know, just depending on your child's skill level. The smaller pieces, like the smaller the pieces are, the harder they might be to put together. But I mean, it could even be like half this size and still fine. And your child can do the cutting themselves. You will probably have to help them figure out how to cut it into 10, because they don't quite get that, the fractions yet. You can draw lines for them if you'd like, or you can just, you know, give them a step-by-step. So what I'm going to do is cut this into 10s. And again, like, you know, you don't have to go online and pay for photos. You don't have to make your own photos. You can literally go on Unsplash, unsplash.com, and you can cut out, or you can print out, you know, just about any kind of photo you could think of, you know, something that your child would really like. You know, they like animals, they like the sky, stars, different kinds of things in nature, you know, maybe some popular landmark is a lot of options. And they're all free, and you don't even need to credit the photographers, so that makes it a little easier when you need to use them for something that you can't quite put a credit on. Okay, so I think I cut mine actually a bit too small. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 14. Okay, I actually accidentally cut 14 pieces. So this also might be a learning experience for you as an adult. But, you know, it's just such a really easy activity, and you know, you want to get a picture that has enough detail that, you know, you're not going to be, you or your child is not going to be stressed trying to find which piece goes where. My printer sometimes will automatically print without margins, but if you leave the margins on, that white space around the edge of the photo that most printers have, that could be a good edge for them to find the outside pieces, because unless you cut it differently, all the pieces are pretty much just, you know, squares, or rectangles rather. Okay, so since I did cut my picture into too many pieces, I'm going to try again with the Eggo box front. So we've cut down the middle like that, and then instead of cutting in the middle again, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 cuts They don't even have to be even. I mean, you know. So I accidentally cut myself while cutting out the cardboard, which just goes to show how careful you have to be with the adult scissors. So I was saying, you know, these don't even have to be even sizes. Like, you know, puzzles aren't even sizes to begin with, and it helps your child to fit them together better. And you know, if you're like me and cutting straight lines is difficult to begin with, then, you know, that's a really good advantage. So I have 4, 5, 6, and then just cut this one in half. 7, 8. Okay, so here are my pieces, and you can do them like, you can do squiggly lines. You can actually find templates online that you can print out. You can have your child draw a picture and then cut that, but make sure to tell them beforehand that this is a picture to cut up and make into a puzzle. If you have a laminator, then might consider laminating before cutting it so that it gives it a little more strength. Okay, and I'll just do a real quick demonstration. So, of course, I haven't mixed up the pieces. They're just the way they came out when I cut them. Oh, see, even I had even I had a little bit of a challenge there. But yeah, there it is. So yeah, again, super simple, super easy. Might take a little bit of pre-planning and definitely some safety measures, but you know, it's a really fun activity for kids because they get to choose what they want the puzzle to be and not just something that, you know, was on a shelf at a store. I really hope that you'll try this one with your children, either the puzzle or the line cutting. And if you do like the puzzle idea, but your child isn't quite there with their scissor skills yet, you can also do just a 4-piece puzzle, a really simple, you know, have them cut up and then across. It's just that easy. So I hope this was a helpful demonstration, and I hope that my accidental cut doesn't scare you away from this activity. Bye.